Okay, I'm going to talk about Venom first. We are on Venom issue 11. And where we last left off was a big thing with Meridius, who has been revealed to be a version of Eddie Brock, Venom, from some far-off distant future, and it's kind of like the self-fulfilling prophecy kind of thing, or self-fulfilling prophylactic.
There you go. Very good. Very good.
Yeah, that show's still not funny. I watched like 2 hours of it this morning. But no, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy in which Meridius is trying to instate that Meridius happens, and Eddie Brock is trying to make sure that that doesn't happen. So where we last left off, like in the main storyline, is that Bedlam showed up, and it was revealed to be this like rage, steroid, angry version of Eddie Brock. Rage. And he stabs Dylan in the chest.
Well, damn.
And essentially mortally wounds him. So now we're back focusing on the Dylan part of the story, and pretty much his body is brain dead. But Dylan is inside of the symbiote hive mind, or inside the symbiote. The Venom symbiote protected Dylan when Dylan got wounded, and it was the only thing he could do was pretty much keep his mind and soul intact.
So does that mean Dylan's in the same place that Brock is now? In the hive mind?
No, Brock is way at the far end of like time itself. Okay. Dylan is stuck with inside of Venom, like because Venom was bonded to him when he got wounded, and pretty much Dylan is inside the hive mind. And it is Venom keeping him alive until they're able to get back to his body. But that's the thing, time is of the essence. Like the longer he stays separated, the harder it is to go back, the more of a chance that the body will die without the mind. And while we're there, we're introduced to a new character called the Keeper, as well as these Venom like representations that are inside of the symbiote's mind. And that's when you find out that they are figments, all points of rage, and how much Eddie Brock has tried to keep those things at bay. And then the Keeper is revealed to be Eddie Brock while Dylan is in here. Meanwhile, on the outside, you got Sleeper, who's this super cool ass symbiote that I'm not going to bother to explain to you again. But he was bonded to someone who was a good friend of Flash Thompson at one point, and left a piece of himself behind, kind of as a sleeper agent. Now you kind of understand why Sleeper has the name. Anyway, he activates it because Sleeper is the other symbiote that travels with Dylan, and they're trying to break him out and get to him. And while you're inside of the symbiote mind, the hive world, it's revealed that the Keeper is a memory of Eddie Brock. Needless to say, it's revealed that Eddie Brock is the Keeper of this place, but it's not actual Eddie Brock. It is Dylan's memory of Eddie Brock. And in order to get out of this place, he has to go through that version of Eddie Brock, because Eddie doesn't want to be the Keeper of this place. So it seems that in the next issue, and this next issue, like that cover that they tease for it throws me off a little bit, because it looks essentially like father and son are like French kissing.
That's gross.
But yeah, anyway. But it seems that Dylan is about to take over the Venom symbiote proper. So there's no more Eddie in there. It's just going to be Dylan and Venom going forward, like officially. But that is the Venom issue, which brings me into my next issue, which is actually going to be a Gunslinger this time around. And of course, you know I love me some Gunslinger, and it's been a little bit since we actually had some Gunslinger. I've had a bunch of other books happen in between. But yes, it's nice to get back to some Gunslinger. And where we pick up is with Javi and his man boy servant, Tyler. As they are on the trail for the guys who done Javi dirty. And this book is it's pretty straightforward. You get through 2 different contacts on his hit list. You get some pretty badass moments from Javier himself. Of course, the art is always above and beyond when it comes to the Gunslinger book. Seriously, if you're not reading the Gunslinger book, you are missing out.
And you must read it in a...
You have to read in this voice.
Yes.
Whenever you read Gunslinger's parts.
Yes, absolutely.
He's a
Well, I
cowboy,
can't even
still
read,
can't read,
so what am I going to do?
Describe the pictures.
He looks like he holding a gun.
You get to a certain point at this book where it kind of flashes back and kind of understand a little bit more about Javi. And it was like after that village was rounded up and killed, which I talked about in a couple of podcasts ago. If you haven't been following, that's on you. Go back and watch. But no, after that village of natives was murdered by some terrible people, Javi had tried to step in and protect them. He was tied to a horse and sent drug, but he didn't die.
Javier.
Yes.
Oh
yeah, like
he didn't die?
He did. He managed to survive. The only reason he survived
goodness.
was because the horse stopped to get a drink. But yeah, Javi got.
Oh goodness,
fucked up.
Javier.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. Like he did not have an easy life. Either way, that was part of what made him so revenged. But at this point, he had not actually died yet. He managed to recover and heal up, and started hunting down the guys who hurt him. And that's when you get this wonderful fistful of dollars version of Javier. And I'm hoping that the next book picks up where this is, because we're back in the past and his memories for this. And yeah, I love everything about that. It's like, hey, McFarlane, if you do a figure of this, I want one.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it is. And they do tease
I
the
like
cover of the next book at the back of every issue. So
Why Javier got feminine legs?
he all cowboys wore skinny jeans.
You see that high cut?
Yeah, everyone knows this. Oh yeah. But yes, that is Gunslinger. It's still this book is definitely exposition heavy. So is the next book, but the next book I also really love too. But you kind of need those books. Like, those books aren't necessarily filler, as in like they help further build and establish the world and help us better understand where we are. It's like, not like, I get that with the recent advent of comic book movies, like there always has to be some spectacle. But part of what makes comic books interesting is like the day-to-day, the minutia. It's like Spider-Man books are heavily street-driven and like doing the everyday thing. It's very like the save the world shit comes in very rarely. And I like books that kind of focus on that day-to-day stuff where a hero is being a hero. Or in this case, in Javier's case, it's a anti-hero being an anti-hero. Our last book is, of course, one of the best anti-heroes around, Moon Knight. And this is taking the fight to Tutor, because we haven't actually gotten there yet. But I know where this book is going, and I'm excited because there was a book recently announced. And I'm curious if you want me to start reviewing it or not, or at least talking about it so that you're in the loop. Because this might have something to do with something that's been pushed back for another year. But we pick up with Moon Knight, Reese, and Soldier. Of course, Soldier recently being turned into a vampire, and you learn why in this book. It wasn't that Reese bit him. No, when someone tried to pull a bullet in Reese, and he was behind her, like she was shot in the heart. A piece of that heart went into him. She didn't bite him. He was completely accidental. What?
They Tokyo Ghouled him?
Yeah, they Tokyo Ghouled Soldier. That's the reason why he's a vampire. He wasn't bitten. He just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong fucking time. But we're introduced to this super badass assassin who's older than Dracula, apparently. Who the fuck cares? It's like, can we stop using Dracula as a unit of measurement for the age of immortals or vampires? Please. It's like, no. It's like, unless we're using Methuselah, I don't care anymore.
I don't know the story of Dracula, but Dracula's not somebody turned him into a vampire, right?
Allegedly. It depends on whose mythology you go by. Like, all right, this is one of those things that you seriously don't know about me. I am super deep into vampire lore.
Yes.
Like, believe it or not, it's like, aside from comic books and stuff, I truly, genuinely love vampires. And I had a valid reason for not liking Twilight. Put it like that. Because those weren't fucking vampires.
They sparkled.
But they glittered. Oh my god. They were so pretty.
Whatever she made wasn't a vampire. And the fact that she held fast to calling that a vampire hurt my soul. You got Moon Noodles going into Chinatown, and he's confronting this ancient immortal assassin who's older than Dracula. Blah, blah, blah. That's all Fugazi. That's not the part that matters. What matters is the setup for what this is, and the next book that's announced, and that's the book I'm going to ask you about at the end of this. Needless to say, homegirl, vampire, assassin chick who's older than Dracula, she has a problem with the structure, which is this enemy vampire clan, and it was a vampire that she turned that became the tutor and started this clan. And the thing is that if she tries to make a move on him, she'll let the person know who made her where her whereabouts are, and that will be a serious problem for her. So where Moon Knight comes in is that enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of deal. He'll take that tutor vampire out in exchange for her help and the fact that she like not make a move or do anything fucking stupid. Now what this is about is that tutor wants to get the attention of the vampire nations. Now I say that and it doesn't mean anything now, it won't mean anything until the end of this spiel, but he wants to get the attention of the vampire nations. He's like the MLM pyramid scheme vampire of vampires. That's his whole thing. He wants to be the person in control, and he's working his way to the top. So where the vampire nations comes in is that the next book that is slated to come out is Blade Vampire Nation. So this is going to be springboarding into Blade, and I'm pretty sure Blade is going to be appearing in the next Moon Knight. So let me know if you would like for me to review that book, and that is the comic verse.